Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kimia Andrew and I'm the pattern tutor. Today I'm going to be showing you how I draft a basic bespoke block. Now for this block, I had a combination of Natalie Gray, Helen Armstrong, and of course other influences that I've had during my journey while learning pattern making. So to start off, I'm going to start with my paper, my A1 paper. What I'm doing now is drawing my margin lines at the top and the left side of my paper. My margin line is 5 cm, which is the width of my ruler. I'm just using the width of my ruler for my margin line. So I'm going to be drawing this on both sides so it can give me a starting point. So to draft a basic block, I'm going to need my key measurements. So the key measurements that I'll be using are for my client, which I have as bust circumference to be 98 cm, and waist circumference, which is my natural waist circumference, 76 cm, and the rest of the measurements which I'll be calling out as I go through my process. Now the point at which my top margin line and my left side margin line intersect, that will be my starting point. So what I'm doing now is from that starting point, which I will mark as my point 0, I'm going to be marking half bust measurement plus 5 cm. So I'm going to be marking that as my starting point. Now I'll need to square that line down, that point that I've marked down, which is half my bust circumference plus 5 cm. And in order to do that, I will just take that same measurement down and mark, and then I can draw from my top margin line all the way down. So now the left side of my paper is going to be my center back, while the right side will be the center front of my pattern. Now let's begin drafting. So from point 0 up there, I'm going to be marking down 2 to 3 cm, 2 to 3 cm depending on size. So if you can use 2 cm for smaller sizes, 3 cm for much bigger sizes. So 2 to 3 cm I'm going to be marking down. That will be my neck depth at the back. I'll be marking that as A. Next, from point A, I'm going to be marking down my nape to waist measurement. So the nape to waist measurement is from the top of your spine to your natural waist at the back. And when I mark that, that will become my point B. Now from point B, I'm going to square a line to my center front. So I'll take the measurement from 0 to B and then transfer that to my center front line. Now the point where the center front line and the line B intersect, I will mark as C. Again, to square out that measurement, I'm going to be taking the measurement from 0 down to my underarm point, and I'm going to transfer that to my center front line. This will give me a very straight line from my center back to my center front, and it will be my underarm or bust line position. Now I'm going to be marking this line. On the center back, I'm going to mark it as my point D, and then on the center front, I'm going to be marking it as my point E. Now for my back width line, I'm going to be dividing A to D by 2, and I'm going to mark that as my back width line. I'll then square out that line to halfway through my paper and just leave it there. I'll come back to it later. Now at this point, I'm going to be marking as point F. Next, for my shoulder slope, I'm going to be dividing point A to F by 2, and then I'll mark 2.5 cm above that point. That will become my point G. Then from point G, I'm going to square out another broken line. Now let's work on our back neckline. So from point A, I'm going to square out a measurement that is our neckline circumference divided by 5 plus 0.5 cm. Then from the end of that line, I will square up by 2 cm. Mark that point NP to serve as neck point. Now using my armhole curve, I'm going to create a curve from NP down to my line A. Now back to our back width measurement. So from point F, I'm going to be marking my back width measurement divided by 2 plus 0.5 cm. The 0.5 cm serves as ease for my back. That point I'm going to be marking as H. Now on our G line, which serves as the guideline for my shoulder slope, I'm going to be marking the same F to H measurement plus 2 cm. So F to H measurement plus 2 cm, then I'll mark that as my SP, which is shoulder point. So I'll be connecting my NP, neck point, to my SP, shoulder point, with a slanted line, and that becomes my shoulder slope. Now my bust line, I'm going to take the same measurement of F to H and I'll mark it from D. So from D, I'm going to mark the same measurement of F to H plus 5 cm, and that I would mark as UP to serve as my underarm point. You can go ahead and square down a broken line from point H down to the bust line. Again, square a line from UP straight down to the waistline. This will serve as the guideline for my side seam. Now to draw out my armhole, I'm going to be using my armhole curve to create a curve from my SP to H and down to UP, all in one fell swoop. Now our back block is really beginning to take really good shape. Now remember that broken line that we squared down from H to our D line? Well, from point D to that broken line, I want you to divide it by 2, mark a point, and then square it up to your back width line and then down to your waistline with broken lines. This is going to serve as the guide or the base for our back darts later. Now back to our shoulder. So I'm going to measure from my NP to my SP to see if my shoulder length tallies with what I have there. Usually you would have a little bit extra from your NP to your SP compared to your original shoulder dart. So what I'm doing right now is from my NP, I'm going to mark half my shoulder length, and then from my SP, I'm going to mark towards my NP the other half of my shoulder length. So whatever I have in between, that will become my shoulder dart. Now when I get this shoulder dart excess, I'm going to divide that space into 2. Then from the midpoint of that excess, I would square down a line that is 8 cm using the slant of my shoulder, and then I would now from the end of the 8 cm, I'll connect back to the 2 other points of my shoulder darts. Now that we've drafted our back block, let's move on to our front. I'll first start by marking the point of intersection between my line 0 and my line C with I. So that would be the top of my center front line. So let's start with our neckline. Now from I, I'm going to be marking a measurement that is my neckline circumference divided by 5 cm minus 1 cm. So my neckline circumference is 35.5 cm divided by 5 is 7.1 cm, and minus 1 is 6.1 cm. So I'm going to be marking that as my NP. Then for my neckline depth, I'm going to be taking the measurement, my neckline circumference again divided by 5 plus 1 cm. So 35.5 divided by 5, which will give me 7.1 cm, and plus 1 cm gives me 8.1 cm, and that is my ND neck depth. Now from ND, I'm going to square out a line that is 2 cm, 2 to 3 cm. This is so I can get a really nice flat finish to my neckline when I curve it. And using my armhole curve again, from NP, I'm going to create this nice curve that just gives a rounded look to my neckline. Next, I'm going to be marking my bust depth measurement from point I. So from I, I'm going to mark down 26.5 cm, which is my bust depth measurement, and I'm going to mark that as my point J. Now from J, I'm going to mark half of my bust distance measurement. So my bust distance is 18 cm. I'm going to square out a line, broken line, that is half of 18 cm, which is 9 cm. That is going to be my point K, and it's going to serve as my bust point. Now moving on to my shoulder, from NP, I'm going to mark my shoulder length measurement, which is 12 cm. 12 cm I'm going to mark as my point L. So from L, I'm going to square down a broken line, a guideline of 5 cm. This is going to serve as my shoulder slope guideline. Now connect NP with L and draw it out with broken lines. Now because this is a basic block with shoulder darts, we're going to start creating our shoulder darts. So from NP, on the broken line, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder length measurement. So 12 again, half of 12 is 6 cm. So I'll be marking 6 cm. I'll mark that point. I'll mark it as point M. Now the one thing from the Natalie Bray method that I enjoy using, because it always gives me the result, is her dart chart. So for this particular block, because the bust measurement falls within the 92 cm range, I'm going to be using this size chart, which gives me a 7.5 cm dart excess for a 92 cm bust. So from M, I'm going to mark 7.5 cm as my dart excess, or my dart excess, and that point I'll mark as M. So M to N becomes my dart excess. Go ahead and draw a line that connects M to K and also N to K. So now you have your dart, your shoulder dart. Now to finish this up, I'm going to close up my shoulder dart so that I can finish up the measurement for my shoulder, my 12 cm, to complete that, and also to just give the finished look of my dart at the tip. So first thing I'm going to do is to use my tracing wheel and run over my longest dart leg. Now I saw this tip, I think it was on IG or YouTube, I'm not really sure, but it makes folding of paper so much easier. That's why I consistently use it. So you just fold your dart, make sure that it aligns nicely with the shorter dart leg. When you fold it like this, you get your masking tape, and then you tape over the paper so that it doesn't move, and then you use your ruler and you complete your shoulder dart. So to complete my shoulder dart, I'm going to take my ruler and I'll place it from NP to M. The line goes from NP to M, and I just extend it to my full shoulder length measurement, which is 12 cm. So from NP, straight through N to 12 cm. That will serve as my SP point. Please pardon my inability to label certain things when I should. I don't know why I didn't label this SP point immediately, but just pardon me. Anyway, so I'm using my tracing wheel to trace over my dart, my shoulder line, so that I can have this nice finish to my dart legs. This gives you that arrowhead shape for your darts. It basically balances your dart with whatever seam it's attached to. Next is our chest width line. So from point I to E, I would divide that by 2 and add 1 cm. I think my I to E was 22 cm. Divided by 2, that's 11, plus 1, that is 12 cm. So I'm going to mark that as my point Q. Since my letters O and S are in use, so I'm going to mark that as my point Q. So from Q, I'm going to square out a line, broken line, from the center front line to my first dart leg. Now, because this line is going to serve as my chest width placement line, I'm going to fold it over as I did with my shoulder. So fold it nicely over my from the long dart leg to the shorter dart leg. I'll fold it over like this, and then I would extend the line to half my chest width measurement plus 0.5 cm. So my chest width measurement is 33 cm in this case. So 33 cm divided by 2, that's 16.5, plus 0.5 cm, that is 17 cm. So this is my chest width measurement, and I'll be marking that point as R. And since I just realized that I haven't marked my SB, here I go. I mark it SB. So let's draw out our front armhole. So from SB to R down to UP will give you your front armhole measurement. So I'm just squaring down a line from R down to my bust line. This is just serving as a guideline, and using my armhole curve again, one fell swoop from SP to R and to UP will give you your front armhole curve. Now I know this looks small and it can be tricky, but I have actually done this block and I have seen that it fits, so don't be scared, just do it. So for a few final touches, if you're going to be using this block just for the top bodice part, from I, I'm going to mark my front bodice length. So on this center front line, I'm going to mark my front bodice length, which is 43 cm in this case. Now it's a lot different from the difference between my back bodice length and my front bodice length is a bit much because the client is actually a bit busty, so that's why I have that much difference. So I'm going to mark 43 cm from I, and after marking that, I would connect that new measurement to B. Now keep in mind that this amount of difference does not apply to everybody. For some people, you might have just a 2 cm difference, some is 3 cm, some is even just 1 cm, depending on your body type. That's why this block is bespoke, because it's tailored to your body requirements. Now, as much as there are standards, it is still imperative to know that your body is different and what might apply to one person might not apply to you. So always keep that in mind. Now to finish off, I'm going to be extending my bust distance line, which is my K point, down to the new waistline. So this line is going to serve as the base for, or the guideline for my front dart when I come to do my waist dart suppression. I'll mark that as point T for future references. And that's it for my bespoke basic bodice block. Make sure you tune in next time for more. Bye.